All right, so we're up and running, so at least. So we're just going to test a few things out. We'll see how we go with this. Going to try a couple of things. The main thing we want to do here is to look at different ways that we can use, or different resources basically, to learn and to develop our English skills. Now, what I've done here, as you can see, is I've just searched for a news article in English. Now, because I'm in an English-speaking country, it's already showing me lots of results. So, and lots of sort of localized results. Obviously, you can filter by whatever might be more sort of appropriate for you. But this is obviously just an example that we're going to look at. So. Okay, there's a story here why this pizza shop is charging customers almost $200 for a Hawaiian. So let's look into this and see how this looks. I'm not sure if I can squeeze the whole thing on here. Let me see if I can bring that in. How does that look? Is that a bit better? Let's see if we can see this a bit better. Okay, so we've got now when we're choosing what we can do or what you want to do. I guess the thing you need to do first of all is determine what you're looking to improve and why you're looking to improve your English skills. If it's for a particular topic, if it's for a particular situation, and that sort of thing. So here, let's assume it's just a general sort of thing, and you at this stage you're just looking at practicing some things that might be a more general conversation. So maybe you're sitting around with some friends in a cafe or something like that, or over a mate's place, and you're just going to have a chat about things you've heard or read recently and that sort of thing. Now, what you could start by doing, say for example, when you look at this sort of a photo, or any photo for that matter, is you could try and describe what you're seeing. So you could just do the literal things like what's on the picture. You could talk about things like the sort of emotions and that sort of thing that you're feeling or generating, or the ideas that come to mind when you see this sort of a photo. So or the image, that sort of thing. Other things you can do is obviously look at it's not always going to be the case, but you can look at the description and see if you understand the description, what sort of questions might come to your mind when you see this. So you can see the owner and chef at Lupa Pizza in the UK dislike pineapple so much they're charging an extraordinary amount for a Hawaiian pizza. So this could be an opportunity, and I can see in the next line, so go why this pizza shop, but you could start by asking yourself a whole bunch of questions. So you could think of the question words, so like who, what, when, where, why, how, and when you're looking at those question words, ask yourself or prepare questions that you can ask, or information you want to find out. Maybe it's in the article, maybe not. But the point is obviously just to practice and that sort of thing. So we keep going down, and we see Lupa Pizza is in a English city of Norwich, has gained international attention for the pricey menu item. Okay, so continuing on, we can see Lupa Pizza in the English city of Norwich has a mostly typical menu charging £14 or $2.80 for classic pizzas on a food delivery app, Deliveroo. But if customers scroll down further, an eye-watering figure appears for its Hawaiian pizza priced at £100 or $198.58. Now, one thing you're doing with this is you could be practicing the way you're presenting the information. So you could be practicing reading and looking for the words or the parts of the story that you think are the most interesting or vital to point out. So practicing the stress that you make when you're reading this out. It could also be a case of you want to just look at it and see what information you can remember. So it's like you can read it, then sort of close your eyes and then sort of turn away and then try and sort of, not necessarily recite word for word, but just see if you've got the main points and that sort of thing. Anytime you have a sentence, any sentence this could be for, you could, now you had the questions before that you could prepare, but also when you just had the information, you could, for any part of the sentence, basically ask yourself a question, thinking of what part of the sentence do I want the answer. So, for example, if we have the answer is 14, so 14 pounds, if this is the answer, we could ask ourselves, okay, what would be the question we could ask? So that 14 pounds is the answer, and so on. Or Lupa Pizza is the answer. What would be the question? Norwich is the answer. What would be the question? And so on. So continuing on, when you sort of read the rest of the story, what you can do, of course, normal things, I guess, that you might see when you're practicing a language, is to write like a summary of it. So you could just sort of encapsulate the main details that you've read and do a summary of the story, highlighting the main points. You could put yourself into different positions of different people in the story. So I can see here, for example, they talk about the head chef, or they talk about the owner. You would also have customers, for example, or you could have just you as a casual viewer reading this article, and so on. And you could, from those different perspectives, prepare questions or prepare answers on how these people feel. And so maybe you have interview style questions and then see what the answers are for those situations. I'll just have a sip of water. So all the time just looking at ways that you can use language to get into that. So then also maybe, like we were saying before, maybe depending on the situation that you may want to use the language, it could well be that, let's say you're a marketing professional or or someone who wants to get into owning some sort of food company or business. And so you're looking at advice that you can give other people from different situations, and you could be trying to explain this in a professional type of context, or like we mentioned before as well, maybe you're in a cafe and you want to explain this to a friend, so you could be thinking of what could be the different ways that I could present this information, perhaps in a more formal or informal or casual way of presenting the information. Now, with all of this sort of stuff, I guess one question that you might have is, okay, well, how do I check what I'm saying is correct, and that sort of thing. So this is where you could use something like ChatGPT or some sort of AI, and you can ask it to give you a summary, and you can compare your summary to its summary. Now, the main thing with all of these sorts of things is that you have to actually be doing the work. You don't always want it to be doing the work for you, not all the time anyway. If, for example, you're just starting to develop the skills for practicing English, and you don't really know what questions you could ask about the sentence. So let's say, let's just use this first sentence here, actually. So we'll use these first couple of sentences. So if we jump over to ChatGPT, and one of the important things is, of course, the prompt and how we use the prompts here. So what we're going to say here is, I'm an English language learner, and I want to, let's say, learn about writing different questions. Can you prepare 10 different questions where the answer is contained in these 2 short paragraphs? And then we'll paste in the 2 sentences, and let's see what the return is. So we're saying 10 different types of questions. Okay, so so the first question gives you, what is the price of a classic pizza? Gives you the answer. Is Lupa Pizza located in London? So here it's prompting for a yes/no answer. No, it's in Norwich. Now, of course, the question could also be, where is? Oh, actually, I've got it here. Where is Lupa Pizza located? There's a how much. How much does a Hawaiian pizza cost in pounds? How much does a Hawaiian pizza cost? $14. So this has got alternatives. So here it's presenting quite a few different options. Now, of course, it's very limited, the range that we've given here, but we're doing this just to show that you don't actually need that much text to have quite a variety of things that you can practice. And so you might do this as an example. So you're thinking, okay, so what's the structure of the questions? How, what words come first and second, that sort of thing. So you're just looking at the formula, basically. So if you're thinking of, okay, I need to practice grammar and that sort of stuff, that's effectively what you're doing. You're just doing a simple analysis of these questions. Then after that, so this is the bit where you've had some input, but there's always got to be output. So if you do this as an example for the first couple of paragraphs, then you can go to the next few paragraphs and see if you can do that for yourself. Try it for yourself, and then you've got a couple of options. You could do the same thing and ask the AI to give you some other examples of questions. But what I think is also a better option is you prepare your questions, and then you give your questions into ChatGPT in this case, and get it to check. And it can then tell you if the questions you have are grammatically correct or appropriate for the text that you've selected. You could also ask if there are any alternatives of ways that you could ask that question. Same sort of thing for your summary. You could say, does this summary reflect the main points of the article that I've been reading here? How can I present this information in a more professional way or a less formal way, and so on. So you can use the AI tool to help you formulate different ways of saying things. And with all of that, so you could have a whole bunch of new vocabulary. I think one of the most important things to consider here is that when you're getting new vocabulary, you have to be really, really careful with trying to learn it all. Anytime you get some new vocabulary, I would suggest prioritizing it. So you stick it all like in your vocabulary list of what you want to learn, but always prioritize and think, what's important for me to learn? And it's completely up to you. It could be that, I don't know, you've got some presentation or something coming up, so you really need to learn this certain type of vocabulary or words or structures and that sort of thing. Excuse me. Or it could be that it's something that you think, I'm going to need to probably use this every day. This is such common expressions or vocabulary, so I just need to get this all the time. Or I'll probably never really use this, maybe like once or twice a year, so I'm going to put this a bit lower down. Or it could just be that you think, "Oh, I think this is an interesting word. So maybe I'll sound more intelligent or more advanced if I use this particular word." You choose the reason for the priority. But always try and do that. I would definitely suggest not to try and learn everything and every word and so on. And I guess with that, my suggestion is that when you have quite a large list of vocabulary, try and limit the amount of words that you're trying to learn each day. This being a test, I'm just going to change over my microphones here just to see how the sound is for the different microphones. So, okay, so I'm just changing that over so I can just do an analysis a little bit later. And so, I've lost my train of thought there for a second. But so I would say, like, when you've prioritized what it is that you want to learn, pick maybe the top 3, 4, or 5 words or expressions that you want to practice and really focus on them for 1 day or 2 days or something like that, and really try to use them a lot. And when I say a lot, I'm not talking about like 2 or 3 times and just write the same sentence. I'm talking about like 20, 30, 40, 50 times. So you find whatever excuse you can to include that vocabulary in messages, when you're speaking with other people in conversations. Now, okay, so what if you're not in any real situations where you need to use that? I guess the question is, why are you practicing that is the first question. But let's say you've got a good reason. Get your phone. Use the voice recorder in your phone or some sort of device to record and leave a voice message. Use the voice recorder or a voice message to yourself. So you just need like maybe 30 seconds or a minute and just talk about something that's appropriate to use that language. And then you can, get through the day. And I think there's a very realistic chance that you can use that vocabulary 20, 30, 40 times during the day. And then at the end of the day, if you, for example, doing recordings, you can then have a listen back and just go, "Oh, okay, did that sound right? Or were those sentences correct? Or was it the right context?" All that sort of stuff. So I would say with whenever you're learning vocabulary, always be very mindful of trying to learn too much. There's always, ambition and that sort of thing. Just be careful with trying to push yourself too much, and then afterwards there could be maybe some sort of burnout or disappointment because at the end, I can't remember the words, and maybe it is because there are too many that you're trying to remember. Okay, we're going to leave this from here. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll be happy to chat with you later.